welcome back to PLPT Premier League Prime Time. And he's back. I told you he would be back. I told you he'd be back soon, and he is back. Robbo, buddy, how have you been? It's been a while, my friend. It's been a while.
I've been good, just been busy with school. Happy to be back. Thanks for having me, Davis.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have Mr. Robbo on. And it wouldn't be a Daveye Robbo show if it weren't talking about one club, and Mr. Chelsea Football Club. Um, it's been it's been kind of a strange season for Chelsea this season. Um, big promises, big hopes in the summer, the big splash of cash spent on more or less every single position type. New goalkeeper later in the window, Thiago Silva on a free, Ben Chilwell, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech. Langsar was on loan, but I mean, Lampard not getting results. Thomas Tuchel comes in and he's got this Chelsea team playing. Did you see that? I think there was a stat um, that 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 Arsenal conceded more goals in the Olympiacos tie overall than Chelsea have conceded since Tuchel's come in or something like that. Did you see that stat?
I think so. Yeah, it's something like they've allowed like under 3 or 4 goals. Like it's pretty ridiculous how defensive minded they are, considering they only play with three in the back right now. So, like, I think that says something that he's doing something right.
Yeah, and this is the exact same group of players, so there's no catalyst to come in and change. I think Roman Abramovich um, asked Tuchel if he needed anything when he came in, and Tuchel said he just wanted to work with the players that he had, whether it's to please Roman Abramovich or whether he actually can work with this group of players, and he clearly can. I mean, we've seen guys, you know, come back from the dead. Marcos Alonso, I think none of us would have. I think we all thought he would be gone at the end of the season. His performances have been incredible. A quick question actually on that. What have your thoughts been on Marcos Alonso's resurgence under Tuchel?
I'm a fan of it. I think you might as well get the most out of him because at the end of the day, he's a pretty consistent player and he fits into this like new formation. And I mean, players like him, Caesar, and now like Reece James, like it's good to have some experience so you can have younger players. They have like players to look up to. So I think it's good that he's returning in form.
Yeah. And before we get into this, so one last player I wanted to briefly mention, and a player who I think has been Chelsea's player of the season by a million miles. Um, um, Always questioned before, even myself, I'd always questioned him before on him always getting picked, but I think at this point he's cemented his spot and he's deserved it for Chelsea and for England. Mason Mount, Chelsea's player of the season.
I think so. If it's not Mason Mount, I would say it'd be Thiago Silva, just because like what Thiago Silva has brought through like in the back line through leadership, just like if you read all the reports, like every single player talks about how Thiago is like a natural leader. But if it's Thiago or Mason Mount, because Mason Mount is, I think he's the future of England. Him and Foden and Grealish. That's you heard it here. Foden, Grealish, Mount.
Well, I don't know about Jack Grealish, and I don't know if Gareth Southgate, finds him to be any good.
Best player in the Premier League this season, in my opinion. But
All
you know.
right. Anyways, enough about Jack Grealish. Um, Going into one of, or probably the most intriguing part of the show. There it is. All right. So, um, um, uh, as you can see, there are a couple players here who have been who've been in the speculation in terms of new contracts, and I just want to go through some of these players. Let's start with Jorginho. With Jorginho, Frank Lampard, he was in and out of the team sometimes because that midfield was rotate, but a commonality is that between Jorginho and Conte, he was always in that deeper role. So it wasn't just a Maurizio Sarri thing; he would always be in the deeper role. playing more defensively than N'Golo Kante would. Um, but under Tuchel, he just seems to just exploded with life, and he's just come to a new level. Although things are going well for him at Chelsea at the moment, reports of heavy interest from Juventus still and Napoli amidst rumors Maurizio Sarri's coming back to Napoli, and of course he wants to bring his man Jorginho with him back to Napoli. Thoughts on Jorginho? Where would you like to see? Would you like to see him stay, or would you like to see him out the door?
I personally would like to see him go because I think he doesn't really fit into this like formation. Preferably like Kovacic and Conte are those like two like holding midfielders. I don't know. I've never really liked the Italian Mark Noble. Like I think he's kind of the penalty merchant, but that's just my personal opinion. And getting rid of him kind of like frees up a ton of cap space. And if we want to make a big splash in the transfer window, it like helps to get rid of some people who kind of want to leave.
We sure. Look, I'll be the first one to say that he's Mr. Italian Mark Noble, but he's been playing well for Chelsea, very very well at the moment. But you'd still want to see Jorginho go?
I honestly would like to see maybe Billy Gilmore slide into his position because I'm big into the whole like youth academy system. I don't know. It's just I've never liked the Italian Mark Noble, and I kind of just want him out. Like I don't
Uh,
know. He's class, but
you can get better, is what you're saying.
I'm still a little skeptical. I think he's part of the reason why Lampard got sacked so quickly. And once I read those reports, it was him, Rudiger, Alonso. They kind of turned against Lampard. They're the rumors, but I don't know. I think Lampard should have stayed a little longer.
All
So
right. So Jorginho is going out the door. If Robertson was the manager of Chelsea. Next player we have Tammy Abraham. Again in and out of the first team. The season, well, last season he had an unbelievable season. Frank Lampard gave him the number 9 shirt as he got rid of Morata permanently. Decided against keeping Gonzalo Higuain, and the goals or the responsibility of scoring the goals fell on Tammy Abraham's shoulders, and he was doing that very, very well last season. But this season he's been in and out of the first team. Tuchel seems to love playing Timo Werner through the middle. Hasn't been playing all that much. Rumors that there's definitely interest within the Premier League and outside the Premier League. I've heard interest from West Ham and whatnot. Seems like he could possibly go. What are you thinking?
I think honestly, I'm concerned this is another Lukaku or another like Mo Salah, another Kevin De Bruyne. Like this dude is legit. Like I do not think we should get rid of him. I think he should maybe go on loan again, maybe to back to Villa because I don't know some because I think once we really see Tammy Abraham's potential, I think he's going to be like the next number 9. So
Mhm.
loan for sure, and then if that doesn't pan out, then maybe sell him.
Okay, fair enough. And next we've got Billy Gilmore. I know you're speaking about him before. This season he's really seen his play time being limited because he's competing with the likes of Jorginho, N'Golo Kante, Kovacic. He's got competition there. Mason Mount's been played in the middle as well. Kai Havertz. It's been a difficult spell for Billy Gilmore. But we all know how good of a player he can be. Would you say yeah, keep him for the long run, or would you say nah, he's just there's too many players ahead. Get rid of him and get cash and reinvest elsewhere.
I think he should be one of those players who goes on loan, and I think it'll be very similar to the Mason Mount experience. Mason Mount went on loan and just tore it up, and I think when Billy Gilmore goes on loan, people are going to realize that this dude's like an engine, and he's like the heart of this team. Like 2 to 3 years, he's going to be in the starting lineup.
So Billy Gilmore is a keep. Next, you have Timo Werner. Oh my goodness. What more can I say about this guy? I mean, this guy summed up Chelsea season in a nutshell. Came in, massive responsibility to deliver them the goals that they had trouble scoring last season, despite Tammy Abraham doing a decent job of it. And it seems that he's lost the ability to shoot a ball. Rumors are suggesting that Tuchel wants um, Erling Haaland, and he is more than happy to sacrifice Timo Werner as part of the deal. Would you give him another season, or would you say it's time to cut ties?
I think Timo Werner should definitely get another season. He was like under Lampard, he was just played like in the wrong position. Like a big part of Timo Werner's game is being able to make like these long runs behind the defender. And under Lampard, he wasn't getting that. Like his speed is what defines his game. And if he's utilized correctly, then I think like he is a great addition to this team. And if we can get Holland without getting rid of Timo Werner, I think that would be a really big perk.
Well, I mean, Dortmund have slapped a 180 million euro price tag on Erling Haaland before his 75 million release clause kicks in next summer. So, I mean, it would take a lot of cash to
Take
prize
a
him
lot.
away, and Timo Werner could be a player that Chelsea sacrificed, or um, or or you're saying keep him for another season, see how he does, and um, there's a good player in there, in my opinion, but do you think it's just a case of the first season syndrome?
I think it's not first season syndrome. It's a totally different league. It's also he was played in a totally just the wrong position for him. Like, of course, he's not going to be as successful. Like they, in my opinion, if you pay $50 million, 50 million pounds for a striker, you should use him correctly. Like, like they knew what they were purchasing. Like again, when he played for Leipzig, he was like clinical. I think he's going to get clinical. So I
Although
think
he was also playing on the left as well for Leipzig. He was playing on the left, playing on the right. He's playing all throughout that attacking three.
he should definitely stay for another season. The thing with the Holland thing is City's also interested, and I'm pretty sure City might have the financial edge compared to Chelsea.
So you're saying keep Timo Werner and
Keep
see what he can do for another season.
yes.
All right. Into the next player, Thiago Silva. Been very impressive with Chelsea so far this season. His contract comes to an end at the end of the season, although there's an option to trigger the extension and also sign a new contract. Um, I think he's turning 36 by the end of the year, by the end of the season. But it seems that Chelsea are very happy with him. It seems like he might sign a new contract.
I think if he's able to stay fit and play at a Premier League level, then excellent. He should definitely stay another year. He's a great leader, a good spine in our defense. But the thing is, the Premier League is an unforgiving beast, and if you're not physically fit, that's going to cost you goals. And like, I'm not trying to have a hole in this center back. Like, three in the back, you had one bad center back. You're down a man already. So I think it really depends on his how he feels and what he decides to do. But I'd love to have him back for another season.
So you would say stay for Thiago Silva.
Yes,
Yeah, he's definitely been impressive. Although my only issue with Thiago Silva is his age. He's coming towards the end of his career. Although yes, he's shown he can still play at a high level. He's shown it. But that's the only issue with him. His age might hurt him. Maybe we'll see that next season. But yeah, he's been. I mean, he's been impressive. He's done very very well in his first season. So I wouldn't be against that if I were a Chelsea fan either. Into the next player, and we have Emerson. And it just seems that this guy, and I don't know, he's been in and out of the first team last season, this season with Ben Chilwell arriving, and there's still Marcos Alonso there. It seems like this guy just can't really get a game. Although he did score a goal, he scored the second goal to wrap up that Champions League tie for Chelsea when Tuchel just threw him in. Um, Good moment for him, but he seemed to just be on the fringes at the moment of Chelsea right now. Seems like he could go.
Yeah, it's my thoughts exactly. It's he's not very high up on the roster, and it's good to free up some cap space. So it might help us out if he leaves.
All right. Both Italians out the door. And into the last one, and we have the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Um, and what more can we say about this guy that we don't already know? I mean, Mondi was literally brought in for a reason. Remember the start of the season at home to Liverpool. Um, a bit of pressure was put on Kepa, and he passes it right to Sadio Mane, who finishes exquisitely past Kepa, and I think everybody knew just from that point what what their overall thoughts were on Kepa.
Yeah, Kepa, I feel for the man, but he just wasn't playing at the quality expected for Chelsea. If selling him would free up a ton of money, and then maybe we could consider a long term replacement to Mendy.
Um,
Possibly the AC Milan goalkeeper.
Donnarumma.
That would be nice. He's 22 and already has like 100 something appearances for AC Milan. The future of goalkeeping, in my opinion. And Mendy isn't even a an option now because next season AFCON is going to be in the middle of the European season, so you're going to lose players like Mendy, Sadio Mane, Mo Salah. All these African players are going to be leaving the Premier League for 1 to 2 months, which is what's going to happen. So Chelsea needs to make our moves now so we can have a good goalkeeper for those big 2 months.
That's very true. That is very true. You wouldn't say what, ride it out with Kepa or Caballero for 2 months.
I've lost faith in Kepa at this point. Like Mendy, like Kepa shit the bed. I feel for the man, but he not a team. He can't compete in a team that's trying to win a Champions League.
All right,
He's
so
doing
the jury is more or less set in stone for Kepa, and he is out, um, according to Robertson. Anyways, the last bit of news, or the last bit of topics that I wanted to cover. Um, we have Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech here. Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech, both players that have definitely been on the fringes under Thomas Tuchel as his preferred front three. Um, for most games has been either Havertz or Mason Mount, Timo Werner. He's even thrown Tammy Abraham ahead of both of them, Callum Hudson-Odoi. So it's been a bit tough for these two. Where do you see both of them and their futures under Thomas Tuchel?
I think Pulisic definitely has the chance of like staying at Chelsea longer, just because like his passport, like as an American, he's literally like he's jersey money. That man is Captain America. Any American kid will say that's Christian Pulisic. He plays for Chelsea. Like he's the face of soccer here in the U.S. So I think there's going to be a move from the board that they'll keep Pulisic there. He's also pretty young too. Ziyech, on the other hand, he's 27, 28. Due to he's having a dip in fitness, but like there's a reason they call him the magician. Like the man is class. I think both players should stay, and once they're fit, I think Tuchel is going to really be able to utilize these players. And I think an alternative, maybe for Pulisic, since he's younger, is possibly a loan option to maybe a smaller Premier League club, maybe a team middle of the table, so he can get those like minutes because that's what he needs. He needs minutes in the Premier League.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Both of these players have qualities, I think, any team in the Premier League would want in terms of their wingers. Both of them, in my opinion, I think both are techie players. Like I think Pulisic and Ziyech kind of mirror each other in the sense that they're both very technical. They're technical players.
I think
They're
Pulisic
intelligent
more
players.
dribbling than Zeke is very like his passing is one of a kind. Like those long balls he can send across the field, like changes the game. And if we have that, him and Timo Werner together is just that's a long ball across the field. That's a goal.
Yeah, yeah. Assuming Timo Werner gets back to the form that we all know he has and can be, yeah, I'd say that 1,000%. And last question. Assuming everybody in the Chelsea squad is fit, right? What would be your first choice starting 11 for Chelsea?
I would have
Would you
Kepa.
stick with three at the back? Would you go to a
I would
four?
definitely stick three in the back. The 3-5-2. I think it's the best formation for this team.
Really, not a 3-4-3? So you have more wingers?
I think the fact you have James and Alonso shifting back to five in the back on defense, Reece James is just showing how versatile he is. Like I think he is gonna be selected over Trent for the Euros. Like that's
Yeah, he
how
should.
his
Definitely
form
should be.
is just miles ahead. And I mean, this it works for Chelsea. So I don't think we should change this formation we have. The 3-5-2 works. If we found a way to better utilize Havertz, I think we could really unlock some like potential.
Yeah. In terms of personnel, who would you put in your 3-5-2?
My 3-5-2. Definitely there's talks of signing Sewell from Munich, but I don't think that's a very realistic um, signing. I do like Rudiger in the back. I like how Christensen is really just
Yeah,
totally
he's. I mean, there's another
taking
one, Christensen. I mean, I don't think in a million years, if you'd asked me 3 months ago, if I would say Christensen's been unbelievable, I think, I think everybody on the show would be having a laugh, honestly. But in terms of the squad that Chelsea have right now, who would you be putting in or slotting into that starting 11?
Mendy and goal, Christensen, Rudiger, Thiago Silva in the back. And then you have Conte and Kovacic as your two holding mids. And then you have Alonso and Reece James as the alternative, like the wing backs who keep dropping in. And then you have a very flexible 10. So maybe Havertz. I think Ziyech can also really slide into that position. And then you play a staggered front two. So you have Warner on the left who's making these runs. And you have either Tammy Abraham or Olivier Giroud who is pulling the defender out. They're pulling, it's like this kind of, they're moving back and forth. So Giroud will draw in and then Warner can get the long run.
You'd
I
sacrifice Mason Mount?
I think Mason Mount, maybe Mason Mount should be that 10 position because he is class. But at the same time, Havertz, you have so much depth on this Chelsea team that like you can't go wrong. I think it's just that Tuchel has to find a way to either do roster management or he has to unload some players.
Yeah, I think Chelsea at the moment just have. I mean, they have too much rather than too little.
They have too much depth. It hurts them because if he keeps changing up the roster, then they're just not going to work well together.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And the final question, actually, in terms of transfer targets, what are your priorities this summer? And I know it's a funny question, transfer targets.
Definitely think a goalkeeper is something that needs to be thought at. So the AC Milan goalkeeper should, I think, be a priority. I think Erling Haaland would really be a nice touch to Chelsea. Who wouldn't want him? But I don't really think that's realistic. Honestly, with the amount of players we do have, like I think our transfer market should be very limited, and I think the next 2 3 years we should really um, be considering possibly a move for a new center back.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, I think Chelsea are actually quite limited on center backs at the moment. I mean, you have Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Christensen. But Thiago Silva's going to get injuries. I think Tomori's going to go. I don't think there's. I rate Tomori. I think he's a very good player. But I think AC Milan will buy him at the end of the season. Um, I mean, Aspilicueta. I mean, I think Aspilicueta will always play, but I think Chelsea just need a commanding, younger
They
kind of
need the
center
next
back.
John Terry. They need. I've been saying this. They need. I think they should have competed for the French defender from Leipzig, Upamecano.
Upamecano,
Yeah, I think he is a really good target, or maybe one of these new Leipzig ballers. There's like a new one like every.
Konate.
Yeah, it's. I think a center back like at the end of the day, you need a center back, you need a center mid, you need a goalkeeper, and you need a forward. We are missing our young center back who's going to hold this team down.
I mean, for me, other than that, Chelsea don't
They
really
don't need
need.
anyone. They won't need anyone for, in my opinion, for 5 years. If like they have so much depth, their loan army is massive. Like they have things like Harry Wilson or something over on West Brom.
No,
I think
that's
that.
Liverpool.
Oh no, it's the. Let me see. Connor Gallagher. Connor Gallagher.
Yeah,
Over at
I think he should go. I think Conor Gallagher. He's doing well at West Brom, and Premier League teams want him. He's a good player. I mean, he should go.
I think they should hold on to him for another season. They should get rid of Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley, that man, he's not even considered to be considered to be like in this running. Like
Yeah, but Chelsea, I think, slapped like a 35, 40 million price tag on him from Aston Villa. So I don't know how Villa's gonna have the money to spend
the
all
Grealish,
40 million.
Grealish is leaving this summer. Man City is going to buy Grealish with.
Yeah, um, I actually think he'll stay at Villa for another year. I think he'll stay at Villa for another year. I don't think he'll go this summer. Manchester United's also in the running for Jack Grealish. Long-standing admirers, but that'd be too competent of a deal to do. And the Glazers don't like spending.
No,
They don't like spending money competently. So
well said.
they like to, yeah. So yeah, buying Jack Grealish is a definite no, and he's also a first choice. So yeah, first choice is also a no in the Glazers books. Anyways, we've reached the end of the show. If you've loved seeing Robbo back again, and you keep want to see Robbo back here, smash like on the video. Our our links to our other platforms on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts is in the description below. Thank you for watching wherever you are in the world. Have a great day/evening.